Alright, today we're having a look at Adventurer's Cave by IlayTsa. Alright, so here we are in Adventurer's Cave by IlayTsa, and I am already really liking the look of it. I was not expecting it, I don't know why, I was not expecting it to be an LBP 1 level, so I do have a nice little sign up there. Good detail. I do have a little bit of a worry that things might break because LBP 1 levels don't always translate perfectly to LBP 2 levels. That's a nice effect. I like that effect. All of these old school ways of getting things like moving water, I am just a big fan. Now, the level does say that it is going to be challenging, which is cool, but I'm not the greatest player in the world, so... Wait, why did that... Oh, okay. Now, I wonder, I don't want to test it now because I don't want to accidentally break it, but I wonder if that would reset if we died or if we had slipped off the... Hello, brain, yes, words. If we had slipped off the grabby bit. I should check that for the B-rolls. Oh. So want to stay on that. Okay. That's just taking its time, but it's fine. Oh, fudge! Come back here! Come back! Alright, so we want to jump right off. There we go. Easy peasy. No stress. I'm liking the look. I'm definitely enjoying that. And the gameplay as well. How's be? Oh, fudge! What was it I just said last week talking about, for some reason, I cannot jump onto pillars without dying. And these are generous pillars. Oh, wait. I'm gonna go in this soup, aren't I? Oh, fudge. Okay. Well, I mean, it's a shortcut, right? It's a shortcut. Do I want to go back down? I did pull a switch. Oh, there you are. Okay, I see. Maybe that should have come down a little bit. Wait, what? Okay. Oh, fudge. Wow. Wow, the confidence. I love it. Yeah, you know, hey, look, have some confidence in the players. Make them sweat a little bit. It is... Well, wait, where do I want to go? Okay, I want to be up there, I guess. Camera work could use a little bit of work on the cameras, I think, to make a little bit more clear. Am I really supposed to be going up there? I think I am. Okay, there we are. R1. Oh, I see. There's a grabbable bit. Okay, I triggered... Oh, fudge. Okay. Yes, cameras, I think, if there's anything that I'm gonna say a thing about it... Oh, fudge! That's our timer. As soon as this stops, we'll have to go back to the hub. And we will see you there. See yas! And we're back at Adventurer's Cave by IlayTsa, and it's a orange diamond that really ought to be higher. I enjoyed the heck out of this level. I think it was really good, and I'm super glad that Ilay had put this up on Reddit, or else I probably wouldn't have stumbled across it. I imagine a lot of people wouldn't have stumbled across it. But it's really cool. It's really fun. It's a great example, I think, of LBP 1 style, level design, and implied logic, and it's just all around something that I enjoyed an awful lot. Now, to focus off on the positive stuff at first, and the environmental choices and the general aesthetic of the level, I think, are great. LBP 1 levels often tended to look very kludgy, and there is that kludginess here in shaping, but there's a lot of effort that's been made into making this look like an actual environment, and I think that shines through. The decorations, for the most part, even though I don't know necessarily that they 100% fit as a cave, they do fit together, and they make a very nice looking environment. Lighting choices as well, I thought were really well done. I loved that waterfall bit that we saw in the video, where, you know, making it look like there's flowing water even though that wasn't a material that was available in LBP 1. It was a really cool workaround to see it done, and I don't know that I've seen quite in that style before. That was really cool. Something else I wanted to point out in that section, although this is not necessarily an LBP 1 thing, but more of a general gameplay thing, but I noticed a lot of times that players set up obstacles, changing obstacles that don't always reset if the player gets thrown prior to the change, or dies and gets sent back prior to the change, and Ilay makes sure that the obstacles do reset in this, and that is a really important detail that I was so glad to see here. I questioned about that in the video itself, like, was that going to work out that way? And it did, and I was really, really happy to see it. Now, there are a few things, like, I did feel that sometimes the camera work and some of the environmental design did make progress a little bit difficult to see. There's one particular section a little bit before where we wrapped up, where we've got a number of platforms that we're jumping across, and you're supposed to jump kind of into the background and then onto a swingy bit and then kind of go back around to the left and then up to a switch on the top, and it's really hard to see how those background sections connect and where you're supposed to jump. I do see that come up every now and then in level presentation. It's not great, although it's not something that in this particular level comes up all that often, so I at least appreciated that it wasn't kind of like a repeated issue. But we do see areas where cameras are tilted in just such a way that you're not quite sure what's going to be coming up next, and it makes it a little bit difficult how to kind of set up how you want to progress in the level. There's a really neat bit that I liked, where you've got there's like bits of stuff that are going into a grinder or a hopper, and you've got to ride across on some grabbable bits, and it's just like a nice little bit of traversal that I particularly enjoyed. Although the section after that, you do have a bit where you're waiting for, you're like on swings and you're waiting for a grabbable bit to drop down on a chain, and I noticed that like with the earlier elevator that I think we might have seen in the video, and there's like quite a long wait on that section, and in this part it's a little bit more egregious because you've also got the swing of the grabbable bit that you're hanging on, and you're trying to sync that up with a descending bit that you can't see like where the descending bit stops, so it's hard to judge just when you need to be swinging into the right place. It's a minor thing, but it is a little bit of annoyance because it does feel like it eats up a little bit of time. But all of these points that I've mentioned previous to this, they are all really minor, and I think that I would even have been able to ignore them and still make this into a yellow square without too many feelings that I'd messed up or I'd chosen poorly, because I do think that all of it up to this point is really, really fun. It's fun presentation, it's fun gameplay, and it's not as challenging as it says on the tin up to this point, but still there is a little bit of challenge there to keep you moving along. However, now we get into the less great part of the level, and that's the boss. And bosses they're really tough to put together in any of the games, LBP 1, LBP 2, or LBP 3. You've got a lot of logic, you've got a lot of building that goes into it, and how you're setting up the different phases and the different attacks. And I realize it's an awful lot to juggle as a creator. I do have a boss in one of my levels. It was not enjoyable getting that boss set up, and I never really felt particularly happy with how it worked out. But the issue that I had with the boss here, and it's kind of a particular one to LBP 1, you've got a number of boss attacks, and they're all kind of chained together. You've got a save point, like a checkpoint, that is in a safety area so that you're not going to get like spawned directly into the attacks. The problem is that the set of the actual chain of events that's going on, you've got like two hoppers that spit out a lot of rocks, and then you've got a bunch of rocks that like go to left to the right really, really quickly like a machine gun. You're supposed to be on some platforms to avoid those. You've got the platforms, they raise up. You're supposed to jump onto a button, and then a poison gas cloud will descend, and you're supposed to be off the platform so you don't get killed there. It's super easy to get killed in the first phase because of the physics of the burning rocks that are shooting out of the hopper. And if you get killed in that first phase, you're basically stuck waiting for the entire rest of the attack chain to go by before you can get back and try to engage with it again. And it's super easy to die in that first phase because of the physics of the rocks coming down. That 8 times out of 10, they just bounced into an area that was supposed to be safe and wasn't, and then I was stuck waiting again. And you've got a limited set of lives on that checkpoint. It is a double checkpoint, but it is a limited set of lives, and it's weird because like the only real dangerous part to the fight is that first bit. So it's hard to engage enjoyably with that boss. You can end up getting killed really easily. Once you're killed, you're stuck into this like cycle of waiting, and then you get out just in time to get killed again. The second time that I played through, I ended up getting lucky and managing to actually beat the boss, and then the level's over at that point, which makes sense. Usually, there's not too much of a cooldown. It can be nice to have a little bit of a cooldown between the boss and the end of the level, but you're pretty much done at that point. So there's this huge, to me it felt like a really big challenge spike, and I'm not really sure how much can be done to address this. One, because I don't know if Ilay can actually go in and kind of fix this level and republish it, because it is an LBP 1 level, and I don't know how the access works there as far as repubs. Like, would it be treated as an LBP 3 level or not? And two, like, because it is a physics-based issue, it's not really like a bit of logic that's timed poorly. It's like your death is almost unaccounted for, and that's kind of a hard thing to fix up without completely reworking that aspect of the boss fight. So, like, yeah, I don't know really super good advice as to what would be good here, except for maybe just redoing that first phase entirely and finding a different way to send that attack over to the player, where it feels like there's a little bit more control for the player. I looked into the stats for the level, and now the level doesn't have nearly as many plays as it ought to. It is a lot of fun. Even with this issue with the boss, it's a great level, and I do highly recommend it. But it said that it had been played 63 times, 35 times in LBP 1, but it had only been completed 4 times, and that was 0 times in LBP 1, and one of those 4 times was me. There's a couple of glitched scores on the scoreboard. I don't know if those are actually completions to the level or not, if those are counted as completions to the level or not, but I have to imagine that of those 63 attempts, that a lot of people probably just bounced off the boss and said, to heck with it, don't want to go through the entire level again just to die right here. So that's the fly in the ointment for this level, but it's still worth the journey. Even if you end up getting killed at that boss, even if you don't feel like you want to complete the level, I do think it is absolutely worth a play. Ilay did a great job here, and I'm looking forward to playing more levels from him. Ilay, thank you so much for promoting this on the Reddits, or I wouldn't have found it otherwise. And I've talked a lot, and I'm sorry about that. I've done a lot of talking here, but it is time for me to wrap things up. So, from me, Isco, here in Tokyo, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.